that it is my will that guided you here.
System Shock 2 graced the world in 1999. Developed by Looking Glass Studios, Irrational Games, and finally published by Electronic Arts. Notably one of the greatest games ever created, it also happens to be a member of the horror genre, and a damn scary game.
Are you afraid?
The game takes place on board a starship in a cyberpunk depiction of 2014. You assume the role of a lone soldier trying to get rid of the outbreak of a genetic infection that has overcome the ship. The gameplay consists of first-person shooting and exploration, but also blends RPG elements that allow you to develop unique skills and traits, such as hacking or psionic abilities. You can hack devices, such as keypads, to open in alternate areas, and this opens the game up for you, allowing for a ton of exploration. You can also use your powers to hack some vending machines to reduce prices on weapons. Because it is a first-person shooter, the weapons are very important. Various weapons can be found throughout the game, including melee, pistol, shotguns, and alien weapons. Non-melee weapons degrade with each use, and will break if they are not regularly repaired with maintenance tools. Different ammo types exist which are more effective to different enemies. For example, organic enemies are vulnerable to anti-personnel rounds, while mechanical foes are weak against armor-piercing rounds. Because ammo is scarce, you must use it sparingly and carefully search rooms for the supplies. This aspect of conservation definitely adds to the tension that the game creates, and you don't know if you're going to have the tools or weapons to give you the ability to kill the enemies you encounter next. Fearing for your life is one thing, but System Shock 2 also makes you fear for your mind.
What is it you fear?
The end of your trivial existence.
That being said, the atmosphere of the game protrudes into your mind and causes you to feel vulnerable, afraid, and fearful of what is lurking around the ship. Thankfully, you have one person to talk to, and that happens to be an evil artificial intelligence known as Shodan. Shodan is one of the most iconic characters in the history of video games, and possibly the most malevolent enemy a gamer could ever encounter.
I am Shodan.
Shodan controls your actions through manipulation and gives you false hope as you are ordered to destroy all the failed specimens aboard the ship. Shodan is such an innovation in itself, as the revelation of her to the player throughout the game is one of the most shocking and effective video game plot devices that I have ever seen. Having Shodan in the game makes System Shock 2 a complete experience instead of just another game. Remember, this is all from one character, and I haven't even given you the juicy plot details yet. You will have to play and find those out for yourself. So why is System Shock 2 on this list? It is such an influential game for both first-person shooters and the horror genre. It was so ahead of its time that it didn't sell as well as it should have despite all my praise for it, and this was because maybe people didn't like the blend of the two genres. It innovated on first-person shooters, and with a focus on horror, brought these two genres together in a communion of reinvention. The story, characters, and role-playing all contribute to the emergent gameplay that System Shock 2 had, where no other game did. Definitely one of the greatest games ever made. It is awesome to see what it did for the horror genre as well. Just remember not to trust anything that a computer tells you, and maybe you will make it out of this one alive.
When the history of my glory is written,
Your species shall only be a footnote to my magnificence.